Right, what we're going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you how you set up the basics for setting up email marketing for a retail store. I'm just going to do one of the sequences, which is lead generation to sale. If you have a retail outlet, you really need about 8 to 10 different sequences. If you want to find out what these are, stuff like this, if you have a look in the comments, I do a free 5-day course where I'll teach you all of the sequences you need. But for this video here, I'm just going to show you how you do the first sequence, which is lead generation to sale. Okay. Before you do anything, even look at setting up an email, what you have to do first of all is what is called persona research, where you have two sets of questions. One are quantitative and one are qualitative. What these basically are is the quantitative questions are demographical, where you're actually finding out who the user is, what their monthly spend is, stuff like this. Then have the qualitative questions, which are basically the end user's perspective. Like why did they buy, stuff like this. Typically, the quantitative questions you can actually resolve down to a number. So, what age are you? If they said 18, you can figure out how many people are 18. Where are you located? London. How many people are in London? So you can, create a number out of it. But anyway, what you do. So here it is. I've done this. This is for a protein powder. Main reason why I've done a protein powder is that what you actually find is, okay, so say you didn't have any customers, you could go to a market research company and say, can you find me people who are interested in buying protein powder? And what you would then find out is all the different people that would buy protein powder. You don't sit there and say, find me people who are interested in buying protein powder for bodybuilding, so you're only going to find bodybuilders. You're doing this research to open up markets to you. Do you kind of see what I mean? This is persona research. Because what you are doing is you're making these little graphical fictional characters of segments of the market. So you then understand what you have to say to them to get them to buy. And you have to know what you have got to say to them so that you can then create the content for the emails to actually make them buy off of you. So here we have quantitative research of what age are you, where are you located, are you the end user? Very important, because sometimes people aren't the actual end user, they're actually buying it to give it to someone else. Why are you taking this? How often do you use protein powders? Did a professional advise you to buy this? Very important question, because then what you could then do is go and find all the professionals. You can sit there and say to the professionals who advise people to buy protein powder, can you sell our protein powder for them? How much do you spend on protein powder per month? Do you buy protein on a regular basis? We then have the qualitative questions. Why are you buying protein powders? The very important question that people don't do when they're doing that, most people don't say, is what objections did you have to buying this? And the reason why you are getting this is when you are sending the emails out to people, you need to handle the objections to the sale. So what you will do is you will create some content that handles the objections. You will then send it to them, and it'll be some value content, and there'll be that. So then that objection goes from their mind. How did you first become aware you needed protein supplements? When did you become aware of our product? What made you buy our product over our rivals? That's kind of seeing if you've got a USP. What don't you like about our product? What other products have you considered buying? Why didn't you buy from them? Would you buy our product again? And if not, why not? So this is basically going to give you an idea of the customer. So then from those questions, what we end up with is 4 personas. We end up with Rob the bodybuilder. And so that's 60% male, 20% female, age 28, end user, yes, reason for purchase, bodybuilding, objections, none. Where are you using this gym? Usage daily, monthly spend 50. Who advises you to buy this personal trainer? We now know how to target this guy. So we can then, say we were doing YouTube advertising, whatever, we could then sit there and say, right, we want people, because we would get like the complete bodybuilder, that's the average age of 28. we would sit there and say, right, like 18, whatever, but we could see the whole segmentation of it. So then we could only target them, and we could, instead of people just into bodybuilding, you may get an 80-year-old who's into bodybuilding, but they're not doing bodybuilding, and you just kind of see what I mean? So then you can really get your targeting down. We then have Edward the endurance, is an endurance athlete, 90% male, age 34, end user, yes. Reason for purchase, repair muscle endurance training, right. Objection, sort of just for bodybuilding, because this was for a company that was really focusing on bodybuilding protein. They then went and changed their packaging so that it's very bland packaging, so they could then sell it to all markets. So in doing the persona research, they found one of the main objections was thought it was just for bodybuilding, because this company was originally, it had a name that was associated with bodybuilding. They then went and just changed the name, so it became a rather bland-ish name for protein, but that they could then target all of these personas. Do you see what I mean? So from that, they then changed their name, and they're actually quite a successful company now. I can't really say who it is, but they do very good, and they do protein, and they sell it to everyone. And kind of Una, the OAP, who, because not a lot of people realise that people in their 70s and 80s buy protein to stop muscles from deteriorating. She will now buy from them because they revamped the whole of their system. Do you kind of see what I mean? And they realise this from persona research. Edward the endurance is an endurance athlete, cyclist. Can you see how by doing the persona research, we find out why they're buying and how we can adapt the products to sell to all of these markets? I would advise you to buy a nutritionist, so we could then go around with the nutritionist, get them reselling the product, because we then made alterations to it. Ian the injured, again, and you see how they have the objections. He's buying solely to help speed up recovery. So we now know that we've got these 4 areas that we're going to target. So what we then do now is we go on to content, because we're going to have to build the content to actually sell it to them. So Rob the bodybuilder, we have to show knowledge, social verification, action and status. Now, this is what you do. I've allowed action and status in here. I build out email systems for loads of companies. Action is where you need to get someone to perform an action before they'll buy it. It's like if you go for a car, sales, you can't go to buy a car, they take you for a test drive. So I've left that in there, even though with a retail product that you're selling online, typically you don't have an action. You would have an action, maybe in a shop you could give a free sample away or something like that, and it'd be the taking of the free sample that would be the action. But I've left that in just so that you're aware of it, because if you are into this basically stuff, you're going to be into email marketing, so you're just kind of aware of that action. Okay, you can have social proof. You also need future in here, which isn't in here, which is very important. Right, I just noticed that. Whenever you're selling something to someone, you sell it to them and you show them the future. This is where you're going to be in 6 months if you use our product. Okay? So, what we have to show is problem. Get rid of that little side menu that just pokes out. Right. We're going to have to create content. So the problem, case study of a bodybuilder that uses a protein, that is an asset that we will create. Technical, show problem and how product solves it. We'll create a video to show that. Value, workout routine with them in a protein drink. So we can sit there and say, right, here's how you bulk up arms using our protein, and that value would be good for them anyway. We could make a 5-day workout routine and advice on how much protein to take. Value content. Social proof, how an individual got a decent muscle bound physique using this protein, and then start putting video testimonials in there. We then want content showing This is kind of a projection, but you always, and you do this really with social proofs. You say, if you're going to take this, this is one of the people that did take it. This will be them in 6 months' time. Status, that's know your customer, and AML, anti-money laundering. I've left that in there. We don't use it for this, but that would be other stuff if you were building out other systems that you would use, that you would create content for. Can you see what I'm doing there? Because it's all the content that you're going to create. For Edward the Endurance, obviously he's different because he's not into bodybuilding. So we would create an asset, case study of an endurance athlete using product. Show how your protein solves endurance muscle issues. By the way, you always sell the problem, not the solution. You don't really focus that much on on how it works. You do show them a little bit because they don't identify with the solution. You keep sitting there saying, do you have this problem? We can solve it. Value, 5-day workout endurance routine using protein. Social proof, how this user rode 100 miles training this process using this protein. Future, what the user like in the future if they use it. So you can sit there and create some type of video. Oh yeah, just 6 months down, keep saying stuff, in 6 months down the line, you will be able to do this marathon using our product and doing our training. Do you see? Because that is really important, future projection, showing that you will get rid of their problems and you will, so again, you would have future, future won't product. This is owner, the OAP, and she does not want to be, obviously doesn't want to be targeted bodybuilding, but when she comes in, all we do is we target her with email, how an OAP use protein to maintain muscles, show how protein solves aging muscle problems, show how basic exercises combined with protein slow down aging. Do you see how I mean? Social proof, how an OAP maintains muscles with protein. And this is, and then you then have Ian the Injured, and you do the same thing. What you also do when you make up content is you create a 20 to 40 minute webinar, which is basically a sales webinar, showing all of this for each different persona. You then have offer content, which is a sales pitch. You may even have mini courses which you charge for. Okay? Because what you actually have to start understanding is what is the state change. And this is how you create a sale. You have the state the person comes in when they are a lead, and then you have to look at what knowledge they have to be given, what actions they have to perform, what social verification they have to see to become a client, right? So knowledge. This is for the bodybuilder, and he has to realise that the product solves his problems. He has to know what the protein levels are, the sugar levels, where it's sourced from, technical knowledge regarding his bulking up, his protein for bulking up, how to bulk up with this protein, case studies, bodybuilding protein, social verification, actions that he's got to participate in, watch webinar, maybe meet at an event, or come into a shop if you're a retail outlet. Do you see what I mean? And you have the same for the endurance, but obviously it is geared for an endurance training. So pretty much the same apart from endurance training and protein. You see what I mean? Because with each sequence, what we're going to do is we're going to tailor it for the person so that when they sign up, they will get a different experience, a different sales experience, so that we can sell to them. Okay? So let's go to Rob the Bodybuilder. So how would we get him into generating a lead? Well, what we could do is we could do like 30-day free bulk up guide with discounted protein. £50 off sign up to newsletter, but that £50 would be off would be like, obviously, if he spends £500, the 30-day challenge with discounted protein, guide to bulking with protein. This is one thing with like discounts. When someone's a new customer, never ever give them a discount where you run at a loss. Always make money on the first purchase. What we then do is, so these would be all your lead magnets. A lead magnet is where you get someone to opt in. They give their email address for you to then send through an email sequence. Each section on this, that is the lead magnet there on the far left. And then after that, it's an email each day. And the segments, so on the first day, I'll send through 3 emails. A welcome email, and then I would send through the 20 to 40 minute webinar with a 10% discount coupon at the end that's a self-liquidating offer. And the reason why I would do that is there is a 10 to 20% of people in this world that will buy there and then, right? They don't want to be nurtured into a lead. They'll just buy there and then. And the webinar, the 20 to 40 minute webinar, which is a sales webinar, you are just selling to them. You are giving them all the information flat out. Bang. There is a chance they will buy there and then. Okay, they don't need to be nurtured in any way, shape or form. They're highly impulsive people. This isn't like a rich thing either. They're just highly impulsive. And they will just buy. If when they're looking for a product, they don't care less about the sale, really about engaging with the salesperson. They just want to buy the product. And if you present it in a right way, but the thing is 80% of the population will not watch a 20 to 40 minute webinar. So what you then do with them is you drip the content to them over a week or whatever. So with Rob the Bodybuilder, you send through 3 emails on the first day: welcome email, webinar, and bodybuilding case study video. And then you then send him content each day. And that's the content that you made to change the state, you know what I mean? So you send through day 1 a content video, day 2 a content video, day 3 you send through a bodybuilding case study video and a 20% discount coupon. Day 4 more value content. On day 5 content, but you then send a warning the coupon's about to expire. On the last day you send through content. You send through content expires now email, and you send through an offer. An offer video. So the offer video could be for like a bundle, stuff like that, but it all expires on that day. And that should get you a customer. You should have got customers from the first load and on the end. And then with the endurance, you obviously do exactly the same, but it's tailor-made for endurance. Owner the OAP, exactly the same, but it's tailor-made for her condition. She doesn't want her muscles to degenerate. She's not interested in bodybuilding. She wants to remain healthy for her 70s, 80s and 90s. If you are doing protein, exercise and fitness for people in their 70s, 80s and 90s is massive. Like, I'm not actually joking. So yeah, really good target audience. Ian the Injured, you do exactly the same. And you basically build it out like this. If you're interested in this, have a look in the content, in the comments and the description of this video. There is a free 5-day course where I go a lot more in depth in this, because if you're doing retail, you need about 8 to 10 different sequences like this to fully monetize a user throughout the whole of their entire life cycle. And I go through all of those during the course. Okay, so I go a lot more in depth into it. I'm kind of hoping that's helped you. I'm kind of hoping that it's given you a basis of how to build out email, how to create the content with the research required. But as I said, check the description. There's a free 5-day course in there. If you need anything, just go to the free 5-day course. My contact details are in there. Okay, thank you very much.